Hey, it's Ina from Taproot Tarot, and today Kara from Kara Tarot tagged me in this activity, Does the Question Matter? She was inspired by Tarot Magpie, who did an experiment on whether or not the deck matters. So asking the same question, same spread, same cards, but with 3 different decks. This one, we're keeping the same deck, same spread, and same cards, but with 2 different questions. So I got a new deck today. I promise myself I'm going to slow down on the deck buying. But this one I think must be going out of print because it's getting harder to get. And I wanted to order a full-sized version of the Oracle Baleen, and that arrived today. It does have a trilingual guidebook, which I'm looking forward to. I did get the mini version with the pastel mini Tarot de Marseille. All of these came from Mandala Bookshop in Soissons, France, and they have an eBay shop. So they do still have this for a reasonable price. Elsewhere, it's hard to find. So I thought I better grab it before it goes out of print. This is a challenging deck. It definitely has a wicked sense of humor. Even, approaching 6 sense of humor, and all the way up to, like, that is not even funny anymore. It's kind of gruesome. So it's definitely a very real, very in-your-face kind of deck. And for a full walkthrough, I'm sure that Simon from Hermit's Cave has a walkthrough, which I've seen, and it's good. So I won't be doing that, but I did want to kind of explore this deck a little bit and its guidebook. And it has a spread in it called the cross spread, and I knew I had seen it somewhere. It's with the triumphs only, and the middle card you get by adding up the numbers on the outer cards. The meanings of the positions, the spread positions, are not translated that well. So I remembered that Vincent Pitisci did this spread, and I'll link that video down below. But unfortunately, his video wasn't much help because he uses completely different meanings for the positions. So looking at the original French, which is on the other side, and trying to translate, I think I figured out what they meant by these spread meanings or position meanings. But then I read the example down here, and it's not at all what I came up with. So I think maybe either I got the translation wrong, or they were loose with the spread meanings, which is also totally an option and commonly done. But what I did find out from tracking down that Pitisci video is that this is his same guidebook that he got this spread from. This must be the standard Grimaud guidebook. So I thought that was kind of cool. It's definitely different. It has kind of some complicated associations with what they call the highly significant triumphs. So a few of the triumphs will have an effect on their surrounding cards. Because of that, I'm actually going to be looking up the meanings just so I get all of those associations right. So it has really definitely different ways of interpreting cards than I have. It even kind of feels like playing cards, like just very, from an American point of view, I think probably pessimistic and negative. We're too positive, I think. So maybe that's why it feels off to me. Not off, but it feels like, very straightforward, in your face playing card kind of meanings, which I do enjoy. But that's not how I read tarot yet at this point. Eventually I will learn playing card reading. This will be an edited video because, I only started focusing on reading without looking things up last year. So I'm definitely not super efficient at reading on camera. So I'll be pausing, I'm sure, to make sure I get all these associations correct. But this spread just uses the triumphs, which I think is kind of good because a lot of the more gruesome cards are in the pips and the courts. So we'll avoid some of that by using just these. I've never done a reading with just the 22 triumphs before. So this will be cool. We're gonna need a couple questions, and for that, I'm using this book. Some of the reviews on this book are hilarious because people are like, these are really simple questions. A lot of them are very similar. I could come up with all of these, and it's like, but would you though? 2,000 questions? I think it's the randomness of just opening up the book and pointing to a random question that makes this book really helpful. So I enjoy this book for tarot reading practice. But yeah, the questions aren't that deep, and that's fine. That's good. And it also comes with a name for each question, so you can kind of picture your querent, and I enjoy that as well. So let's choose our first question. Jules, how can I move my relationship to the next level? Oh, wow. Okay. So, boring, but that's fine. So let's do this. It's called the cross spread. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to figure out the meanings that are intended in the original French. All right, so Jules, how can I move my relationship to the next level? We have present and immediate future. I think, you know, if you don't do anything to solve the problem. And then we have, this is idea or solution. And then this, I think, should be the action taken. And the result, if you take this action, we'll find that by adding up these numbers. So in your present, maybe your intuition is telling you that it's time to move to the next step, the next stage in your relationship. But in your immediate future, you are maybe stuck in too much stability. You're maybe comfortable with the status quo, the way things are. Now, one of the highly significant triumphs is the devil. So when the emperor is next to the devil, I have to look this one up. You must accept adversity. So maybe it sounds hard to change up your relationship, but it's time to accept that moving to the next level will be a challenge and it won't be easy. So some ideas about this situation with the devil, maybe we should consider if this is an impulsive decision, maybe even a desire for more physical affection. Now this is another one, if it's next to the Wheel of Fortune, meaning does change according to this guidebook. So let's check that out. Alternating frustration and satisfaction. So an idea about this situation is maybe you're back and forth a little bit. You're not sure how to move your relationship forward because you're frustrated with it and sometimes satisfied with it. Maybe you're just indecisive about whether or not you should move forward because you're kind of stuck in this Emperor stability energy. An action to take at this point might be to get comfortable with change and less stability. If you want to move forward in your relationship, it's going to be, there's going to be a time of change and transition coming ahead, and it's time to prepare for that. And when this is next to the devil, according to this guidebook, it says be careful with financial speculations and sensual enjoyment. So that makes sense. If you're going to move forward to the next level, make sure your finances are under control and don't take too many financial risks. Maybe don't tie up too many finances with this person because you don't know what's going to happen if you take that next step. And maybe keeping things alive with some sensual enjoyment will help. Finally, the last card is the result, and we get that by adding these up. So we have 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 15 is 21, plus 10 is 31. And those are more than 22, so we add the 2 digits up and we get 4, which is already on the table. So the way we handle that is we take that one out and we do 2 plus 15 is 17, plus 10 is 27. Add those together and we get 9. So we've got the Hermit. We find the Hermit. That's interesting. I do love this Hermit card though. Okay, so this is the outcome. And this guidebook associates the Hermit with prudence. I've heard that before. Prudence is one of the virtues that's included in some tarot decks. And so sometimes the Hermit is considered to be a replacement for that in decks where prudence isn't specifically included. So that's interesting. It does have a changed meaning when it's next to the Wheel of Fortune, which it is in this draw. And that is inclined toward depression and convenience because of an old person. Obviously, we're not using that meaning. So, we're going to go with, the result is going to be finding that stability again, maybe settling into a new normal, more at home, and gaining some respectability by taking that relationship to the next level. Not something I would personally encourage, but yeah, society does encourage stable relationships. So that is one way to read these cards. Now what we're going to do is keep this exact same spread. So I'm going to put the Hermit away for a moment until we need them again. And Jules just needs to get ready for some instability and take that next step. Now we'll do the same spread, same deck, but with a different question. How can I move forward without fear? And this is Vince. Oh, that's cool. So a little nod to Vincent Pitisci, since we were just talking about him. All right, rest in peace, Vincent Pitisci. So how can Vince move forward without fear? So I can kind of see how that's a very similar question. Let's just assume that Vince wants to move forward in his career. So he's got a gut feeling, his intuition is telling him it's time to move to the next step. He's really comfortable in the stability that he enjoys now. Right now he feels like he really knows how to do his job. He's, very much a person of authority in his current position. So an idea about that might be that he's attached to that maybe power and authority that he has in his current position, even though really he would benefit from moving forward without fear. So that fear is probably coming from his unhealthy attachments to this the stability in his current position and the authority that he enjoys. His action to move forward, again, is to get comfortable with that instability that's going to come in moving forward in his career. Now, again, with these two together, there was that added meaning, according to this Grimaud guidebook, that we need to be careful with financial stability. And he needs to make sure that he is financially prepared for a little bit of instability to move forward in his career. Likewise, the Devil takes on an additional meaning, being right next to the Wheel of Fortune, of alternating between frustration and satisfaction. So that's really, despite enjoying this stability and the respect that he has in this position, he's frustrated. Sometimes he feels satisfied, but that alternates with frustration. So it's time for a change. Just making sure that the finances are prepared for a career change. Now this guidebook, that's interesting. It says it does consider the Wheel of Fortune to indicate a love of traveling or a love of discovery. So maybe Vince needs to figure out a new career that would allow him to learn some new things or even get some traveling in. So if he follows that advice, the outcome is the Hermit. And again, this guidebook does not have a very good interpretation of the Hermit. But if Vince follows this advice, we want to give him a positive outcome for it. So in this case, I would say, a sense of self-satisfaction that comes from within. He doesn't need the accolades that come with his current position. If he changes his career to something where he's doing more learning and discovery, maybe even travel, that sense of satisfaction is going to come from within. So that would be my reading for Vince compared to a reading about the relationship for Jules. So you can see how those changed a little bit, but they were similar questions, so they really had pretty similar outcomes. So thank you to Cara from Cara Tarot for giving me an opportunity to check out this guidebook and deck a little bit that I just received. And thank you all for watching and stumbling through a really awkward very first on-camera reading for me. So sure appreciate ya, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.